Okay, so our topic for today is financial rehabilitation and insolvency act. Okay, so this is other the shortcut, or it is also known as your FRIA act. Okay, so FRIA act. For this topic, we will learn the general provisions, insolvency of individual debtors, corporate rehabilitation, cross-border insolvency. Yon. So ano ba tong FRIA na to? Hold on. Okay. So, pag sinabi nating Financial Rehabilitation and Insolvency Act of 2002, it replaces the 1909 Insolvency Act. Okay. So, it is actually a policy um, to encourage debtors and creditors to resolve kung ano yung kanilang claims at saka property rights. Okay, para maging maayos yung pagbabayad ng utang ng mga debtors sa kanilang mga creditors. So, pagdating naman sa mga creditors, hindi sila nag-uunahan kung sino ba yung dapat isettle ng mga debtors. Okay. So, key definitions muna tayo. Okay. Sino ba yung debtor? Pag sinabi nating debtor, it may be considered as a sole proprietorship na hindi enough yung kanyang um, uh, sole proprietorship na merong obligation to pay a loan or an obligation to another person. So, meron tayong individual debtor, meron tayong group debtors. Pag sinabing individual debtors, mag-isa lang siya. He must be a resident and a citizen of the Philippines that becomes insolvent. Okay? Pag sinabi nating insolvent, ibig sabihin hindi na enough yung kanyang assets to pay off his liability. Yung group debtors naman refers to and can cover only number one, corporations, number two, partnerships. For corporations who are financially related to one another as parent corporations, subsidiaries, or affiliates, and partnerships that are owned by more than 50% of the same person, and kasama din dito yung single proprietorships that are owned by the same person. Okay. So next definition will be insolvency. Okay, so technically, pag sinabi nating insolvent ang isang entity, hindi na enough or hindi niya na nababayaran yung kanyang mga utang. Unable to pay its obligation. At the same time, um, his liabilities is more than his assets. Next, who are creditors? A creditor is a natural or a juridical person who has a claim against the debtor. Okay. Meron din tayo ditong commencement date. It is the date when the court issues a commencement order kung kailan ia-apply yung rehabilitation ng entity. Okay? General unsecured creditors. It refers to creditors whose claim or a portion thereof is not secured. Kaya nga unsecured, di ba? Ibig sabihin wala pong collateral na naka-attach doon sa unsecured creditor natin. Pag secured creditor naman, merong collateral na naka-attach doon sa kanilang pautang. Okay. So, excluded debtors. Who are these excluded debtors? We have your banks, insurance companies, pre-need companies, and government agencies or units. Okay? So, sino ba tong bank? Okay, pag sinabi nating bank, um, it is a duly licensed bank or a quasi-bank that has potentially or actually subjected to conservatorship or receivership under the new Central Bank Act. Insurance company naman refers to those companies that are potentially or actually subject to insolvency proceedings, and pre-need companies refers to any corporation authorized or licensed to sell or offer pre-need plans. So, bakit sila excluded itong apat na to? They are excluded because merong specific na law applicable to the obligations na kailangang isettle sa kanila ng debtors. So, again, merong special law na applicable para sa kanilang apat. Okay? Insolvency of individual debtors. So, it is a condition wherein the debtor is not able to pay yung kanyang mga utang because hindi na sapat yung kanyang assets. Okay? So, ano ba ang ginagawa kapag merong insolvency ang individual debtors? Number one is suspension of payments. Ano ba yung nangyayari or ano ba yung suspension of payments? Sa suspension of payments, it's actually a voluntary act wherein wherein si debtor is nagre-request siya. Okay, so balikan natin. Pag sinabi natin suspension of payments, this involves na tatawagin yung creditors to a meeting para yung mga creditors kung saan may utang si individual debtor para mag-agree sila sa schedule ng payment. Okay? Ang mangyayari sa suspension of payment, kaya siya tinawag na suspension, kasi it prevents the debtor from making payment outside the schedule na pinag-usapan nila ng creditors. So hindi siya pwedeng magbayad sa ibang mga gasto, sa ibang mga succeeding utang niya hangga't hindi pa niya nababayaran or hindi niya sinusunod yung schedule of payments ng mga creditors na nag-appear doon sa meeting. Okay? Ang suspension of payments is applicable only for individual debtors. Okay, so ano yung suspension order? Pag sinabi nating suspension order, it is a motion filed by the individual debtor wherein the court should issue suspending any pending execution against the individual debtor. So, ibig sasabihin individual debtor kay judge, sasabihin niya, Judge, ayoko na, dami ko ng utang. Kailangan matigil muna lahat para makarecover ako. Pwede bang bigyan niyo ako ng suspension order? When you say suspension order, anong gagawin niyan? Ang gagawin po niyan is yung kanyang mga creditors is hindi siya kakasuhan. Okay? Hindi siya kakasuhan. Tigil muna. Okay? Antayin niyo ako makabayad, babayaran ko kayong lahat. Yun ang sinasabi sa suspension order. Hindi siya kakasuhan ng kanyang mga creditors. Okay? Pero magbabayad pa rin ba siya? Oo naman, magbabayad siya. Susundin niya yung schedule na binigay niya doon sa judge. Kasi bago ka mabigyan ng suspension order, kailangan meron ka munang plataforma kung paano mo babayaran yung mga creditors mo, di ba? Okay, next. So, ano bang exception to the rule dito sa suspension order? So, sabi, no creditor shall sue or institute to collect his claim from the debtor from the time of the filing of the petition for suspension of payments except for personal labor, maintenance, at saka expenses of the last illness and funeral of the wife or children of the debtor. Okay? At saka, hindi rin kasama dito yung mga secured creditors. Pwede sila maningil. Okay? Prohibited acts ng debtor, i-summarize na lang natin yan sa dalawa. Okay. So, si debtor, hindi siya pwedeng mag-sell, transfer, encumber, or dispose in any manner his property except those in the ordinary operations of his business. At the same time, since meron niyang suspension order, he cannot make any payment outside the necessary or legitimate expenses of his business or industry. Okay. Next, punta naman tayo sa creditors meeting. Okay. Sa creditors meeting, again, para magkaroon ng suspension of payments, kailangan mag-usap-usap muna si creditors at saka yung may utang. Okay? O ito, ilalatag natin. Paano natin babayaran yan? Okay. During the creditors meeting, the debtor, yung may utang, shall attach kung ano yung proposed agreement niya with the creditors. Okay? Para maaprobahan yun, kailangan ng quorum. So, pag sinabi natin quorum, yung mga creditors niya holding at least 3/5 of the liabilities ng debtor. So, take note, yung quorum hindi hindi siya per tao ang count. Kasi pag sinabi natin quorum, it's more than half. Hindi siya per tao ang count. Okay. So, kunwari, meron kang 3 pinagkakautangan. Okay? Pag sa corporation, ang tinatawag na quorum is more than half ka. So, 3 divided by 2 'Di ba? That's 1.5. So, kapag dalawa yung present, quorum na yon. Okay. Pero pagdating dito sa FREIA, sa creditors meeting, ang sinasabi nating quorum is yung kung ano yung nire-represent nilang value ng utang. Okay? So, kunwari, ang utang nitong debtor na to ay 5 million. Galing lang yun sa tatlong creditor. Yung isa, si A, creditor A, 100,000. Si creditor B, 200,000. Si creditor C, yung the rest ng 4.7 million. Okay. So, pag sinabi nating creditors meeting, kailangan ng quorum. Presence of creditors holding at least 3/5 of the liabilities of the debtor. So, kahit si creditor silang yung pumunta, meron ng quorum. Okay? So, meron ng quorum yun kasi 4.7 yung utang niya eh. More than 3/5 yun ng liabilities ni debtor. Next, sa approval naman. So, meron na tayong quorum. Next, kung paano maaprobahan yung suspension of payments. Kailangan po natin ng tinatawag na double majority. Okay? Pag sinabing double majority, kailangan ng vote ng 2/3 of the creditors voting. And letter B, yung 2/3 na nagvo-vote para sa suspension of payments must at least hold 3/5 of the total liabilities. 3/5 ng total liabilities. So, para masabi nating double majority, ulit, 2/3 ng creditors voting at saka meron silang claim amounting to at least 3/5 of the total liabilities. Okay? Ito pala. Insolvency of individual debtors. Okay. So, pag sinabi nating insolvency, ibig sabihin, hindi na enough yung kanyang assets at saka para isettle yung kanyang liabilities. Okay. Hindi lang. So, ang next nang gagawin is yung liquidation. So, pag sinabi nating liquidation, ano ba ang ginagawa dito? Okay, matututunan nyo to actually pagdating sa, ano ba? Is accounting for special transactions. So, pag sinabi po nating liquidation is binibenta yung kanyang mga assets papunta sa nilalagay sa isang auction at ayun, binibenta doon sa auction na yun at so kung sino yung highest bidder sa kanya mapupunta yung assets. Yung amount na makukuha from the auction, yun po yung ipapabayad sa mga creditors natin. So, ano ba ang difference between voluntary liquidation at involuntary liquidation? So, pag voluntary liquidation, kailangan po debtor is insolvent. Yung acts and insolvency need niya should be alleged and not be alleged and proved. The debts must be at least 500,000. The individual debtor files the petition. Kailangan po pag voluntary, syempre voluntary yung si debtor na mismo yung nagkusa. Okay? The debtor is not absent as he files the petition and meron pong bond na binayaran ng mga creditors. The bond is not required pala kapag voluntary liquidation from the creditors. And liquidation order is issued without trial. Pag involuntary naman, ibig sabihin, almost the same lang, ang pagkakaiba lang dito kay voluntary is that yung creditors mismo yung nag-file sa korte na ipaliquidate yung assets ng debtor. Kasi kaya nga involuntary, di ba? Hindi ikaw yung nag-file para sa sarili mo, kundi ibang tao. In this perspective, yung creditor po ang nag-file ng petition. And since sila po yung nag-file, yung creditors po ang nag-file ng petition for liquidation, kailangan po sila magbayad ng bond. When you say bond, bond po yun papunta sa korte ha. Ibig sabihin na if in case merong i-incur na liabilities yung auction, doon po kukunin sa bond na yun. Okay? Next. Okay, corporate rehabilitation. Sandali lang. Inom lang ako ng tubig. So, when you say rehabilitation, It is the restoration of the debtor to a condition of successful operation and solvency. If it is shown that its continuance of operation is economically feasible, the creditors can recover by way of the present value of payments projected in the plan, more if the debtor continues as going concern, that if it is immediately liquidated. So, anong nangyayari sa rehabilitation, bigyan mo muna ng chance na makarecover yung corporation para kapag nakarecover, babayaran niya yung mga utang niya. Ang rehabilitation po, nangyayari po yan kapag merong economic feasibility na talagang may chance or may chance talaga na makarecover yung corporation. Okay? So, meron tayong types of rehabilitation. Okay. So, technically, ang types ng rehabilitation natin may be also voluntary or involuntary. Pag voluntary, initiated by the debtor. Pag involuntary, initiated by creditors. Okay? So, meron tayong court-supervised rehabilitation. Ibig sabihin, yung korte mismo, yung nagsusupervise ng balik into business ng isang corporation. Pag pre-negotiated rehabilitation naman, ibig sabihin merong receiver na nangangasiwa doon sa pag-rehabilitate ng corporation. Out of court restructuring or informal rehabilitation, pwedeng manatili doon sa corporation yung power para i-rehabilitate yung business itself. Okay. Next. Okay. So for voluntary court-supervised rehabilitation, we have grounds for voluntary proceedings at saka yung minimum allegations for voluntary proceedings. Medyo mahaba-haba po itong basahin pero I leave it to you. It's just yung concepts na lang yung pag-aaralan natin, ha? Okay. Your involuntary court-supervised rehabilitation, ganun din po. And let's talk about cross-border insolvency. Okay. So, pag sinabi natin cross-border insolvency, ano nangyayari dito? Okay. So, nagkakaroon po ng cross-border insolvency kung affected na yung isang party sa ibang bansa. Okay. The FRIA adopted the model law on cross-border insolvency of the United Nations Center for International Trade and Development as part thereof. Okay. So, balik tayo dun sa cross-border insolvency. If there is a rehabilitation proceeding filed na final ng isang foreign entity sa ibang jurisdiction, the petition may be filed by the latter's representative and the court may issue orders. So, foreign entity, yung nag-file ng jurisdiction, pwedeng dito sa Pilipinas, dinggin yung kaso pero through a representative na lang. Okay? So, that is, para hindi pwedeng kunwari, mangungutang ako dito sa Pilipinas tapos tatakbo ako. Hindi. Mangungutang ako sa China tapos babalik ako sa Pilipinas. Baka sabihin nyo, hindi, clean slate na ako. Meron tayong tinatawag na cross-border insolvency. Yung pinagkautangan mo sa China, pwede maghanap ng representative dito sa Pilipinas at siya yung a-attend during hearing. Siya yung magpa-file ng case against the debtor. Okay? So, that's it for your FRIA.